Around here. Okay, we're starting a Periscope broadcast, so it's going to be on me. Maybe I'll do it on the screen, but hopefully you don't mind. But I'm not going to film you guys. Here, I have a class here. So we're going to talk about LinkedIn in about 20 minutes. I guess we have 20 minutes to a half hour, so I'm going to go fast and furious, but leave time for questions. Okay, that's cool. All right. Put this around. There we go. Okay, so LinkedIn for Business in about 20 minutes. A little bit about me. So just as a bit of my background. So I'm Leslie Hughes, as you already know. And so I was a part of the OSEP program in Joanne's class. And so just as a little bit of background, I've been teaching at Durham College for the past, I want to say 3 or 4 years now. I started my company in 2009 and basically have worked with companies like the Children's Wish Foundation, TVO, and all that kind of to help them with their social media strategy. But I've really focused on LinkedIn in the past, I'd say a couple years, because I just found that LinkedIn has been a really beneficial tool for business development. And also I'm going to tell you obviously why LinkedIn is such a rock star sort of channel. And in addition, what else? So background, I worked with Visa Canada when I did some buck slip inserts. I used to work with Visa Canada doing marketing for them, and worked at Wedding Bells and Fashion Magazine in their sales department. So sort of cross, kind of babbling here, but just a lot of different marketing and sales sort of backgrounds. That's just a little bit about me. So why LinkedIn is so essential is because LinkedIn has over 380 million members in over 200 countries. So it may not be the biggest channel out of all of the channels, but it certainly, for me, is one of the most powerful, because this is where business people are investing time. They're not wasting time, right? So a lot of the other channels, we sort of go on to goof around and to sort of play, to just sort of not waste time, but just sort of get entertainment value out of it. So this is the channel where business professionals are actually investing time, and this is where decision makers are actually. So members actually on LinkedIn have more buying power than other channels as well, and 1 out of every 3 professionals on the planet are on LinkedIn. So that's sort of one of the reasons why LinkedIn is so powerful, is because it's a lot different than some of the other sort of consumer-based channels. So one of the reasons why you want to have a really strong profile on LinkedIn is because when people Google who you are, LinkedIn is probably one of the channels that's going to appear at the highest in the search engine rankings. So according to brandyourself.com, that when people Google you, LinkedIn usually comes up as one of the top 3 channels. So I've really tried to keep LinkedIn boiled down into 3 simple steps, because I know that social media and everything is really overwhelming. So all of it really boils down into strategy, right? So my first, and I can write this on the board too, my first step is really to create a strong presence. So we're going to talk about the 3 simple areas that you're going to hopefully finish today to really flesh out who you are and how you help your target audience. So that's number 1. And number 2 is to connect with quality people. So my belief is that you should connect with only okay, I'll get into it a little bit more, but connecting with quality people is better than just accepting everybody into your Rolodex, because you want to be strategic, and I'll explain that a bit. And then the third is basically what social media is about, which is conversing with people, right? Hopefully you've learned this before, that it's not a push, but it's a conversation, and it's a dialogue instead of a monologue, and all that kind of fun stuff about social media, that it's not set it and forget it, but that you want to have conversations, deepen engagement, deepen relationships, and also make sure that you're engaging with your connections. And then because of that, you're going to end up converting business as well. So one of the other important factors to notice too, in addition to LinkedIn ranking you high in the search engines, is that your personal brand is everything. So in the past, we might have sort of been under the umbrella of a business. So if I was working for a Visa, then I would have been a Visa employee, or Wedding Bells employee, or whomever. But now our personal brand means everything, because people buy from us, especially as small business owners. People buy from us because they know, like, and trust us, right? So it's really important that your personal brand stands out. So the step 1 in creating your strong presence, there's going to be 3 elements that I'm going to, and I can send you this deck too once I'm done if you want. But the 3 essential elements that you want to make sure that you complete on your LinkedIn profile is your picture. You want to have a nice professional headshot of yourself, because people connect with other people's picture. Number 2 is going to be your headline. And your headline is important because it is one of the first impressions that people get when they look at you. So it's married with your professional picture is your headline. And you have 120 characters to essentially put who you are and how you help your target audience. And I'm going to give you a nice little formula to boil things down to make it really simple. And then the third is your summary. And your summary is a 2,000 character way that you can essentially write your brand story of who you are, how you help your audience, and then dovetail that together with your brand story, with your business brand story as well. So a lot of it, I help executives write, I actually do the writing for them. I don't help them, I actually write them for them. What I do typically is do an interview with an executive, write about who they are, some of their accomplishments throughout their career, and then bring in the brand story as well to sort of dovetail those two stories together. And at the end, be sure to have a call to action. How do you want someone to get in touch with you at the end? You don't want to just presume that they're going to know that. All right, so I'm just going to walk over the board here, and I'm going to put in this plug and play sort of headline formula so that you guys have this. And I'm going to keep. Do you want to hold this? Sure. You can just film it that way, I think. Okay, so now it's filming you, so I'm going to turn it around to face you. Okay, so the formula is going to be your title, and then specializing in, and then usually it's like whatever your niche is. Let me just make sure that this is the headline. Yes, your headline. So specializing in, I mean, you can write this in any way. This is just a guideline. So this isn't sort of your objective. Okay. So whatever pain you're solving, objective for your target audience. So this is going to help. That just sort of helps you with 120 characters in order to sort of flesh out who you are and how you help your target audience. Now, there's two ways of doing it. You can do it that way so that your target audience actually gets, this person helps me in what I do. You want them to immediately get that resonance of who you are. Can you help me is what people want to know. So you can do it that way, or you can simply just have keywords that you can then use it that way. So I could put like LinkedIn specialist. I start out with that, even though I can train on all the social media channels. I've done strategy development for a lot of different other companies, but that's the one that I want people to immediately, I want to dominate my niche by having that immediate recognition of like the LinkedIn channel. So I have one here. I'm just gonna put it back on the. Thank you very much. So right here, I've got someone in my deck here, which I'll share with you too. And hers is she's a freelance writer. So it says freelance writer at Get It Right. I help corporate communicators who need writing that has warmth and personality. Which I think is a really nice. It's just so much better than just saying CEO or writer. It just really helps connect with the target audience in a much more efficient way. And so, as I said, you have 120 characters, which for a chatty girl like me is really hard to pare down, I'll have to admit. So that'll help you with your formula, with your headline. Your summary is a 2,000 character elevator pitch. I think writing it in first person is much more, it'll connect you with your audience so much better than in third person. So third person, most people think that LinkedIn is just for your resume. But it's so much more than just your resume, right? It is an opportunity for you actually, for when people Google who you are, can this person help me, that elevator pitch will really help to get that person through your sales funnel, right? The person reads it, they go, oh my gosh, this person is going to solve the exact problem that I'm leading today. And so you kind of do it in sort of a sales pitchy, but instead of it being really sales pitchy, you write about how passionate you are about what you do. Because then it doesn't sound like a sales pitch. It sounds like you're really committed to your industry in what you do, right? And so you can either highlight your accomplishments and any of the awards that you've received, or if you have worked with certain key clients. Like for me, I zhuzh that up, right? I put on there like some of the key clients I've worked with because it sounds really good that I've worked with, TVO or Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, things like that people go, oh wow, she's worked with some serious brands. So maybe she'll be able to help me, right? Write it in first person, include your accomplishments, and again, at the very bottom of that, you want to make sure that you include a call to action, for more information, or I'd love to reach out, I'd love to connect with you, and so write, do you want them to reach out to you via email and or phone? Because you just don't want to just presume that at the end of it, they're going to know exactly what to do. You want to lead them through the sales funnel, right? So if you do nothing else, but do those three things, have a professional shot, your headline, and your summary. If you do nothing else on your profile, you're going to be 90% better than the rest of the members on LinkedIn. I can guarantee it because I've done my research, and I know for a fact that there are tons and tons of other people that have not effectively filled out their summary. They haven't written it in first person. They just simply have just taken their old resume and just thrown it up online. So this is going to make sure that you're going to stand out in your niche. Cool? We got that down? Awesome. Okay, so the next part is, as LinkedIn is not sort of set it and forget it like any of the other social channels. You really have to nurture it, and so keep adding things as you go. It's there's a whole deep dive. You don't have to build it in one day. It's add a little bit over time. So every day or every other day or even every week, add another project to it. I add all my speaking. Anytime I'm speaking at a conference, I make sure that I add that as one of my deliverables in the projects area. If I've written a blog post that gets shared maybe nationally or something like that, I put that in my publications. Any of those other sort of, if I've been volunteering, I'll include those things. So as you continue to go through your profile, if you keep adding more and more to your profile as you go, those little changes that you're going to do are going to net big results in the end, because the more that you add to your profile, the more opportunities you're going to get. It's really entirely up to you as to how much information you want to include on there. Some people put a little bit more personal information, like they're a marathon runner or that family is very important to them. Some people want to keep it buttoned up and just keep it professional. It's really, really up to you. Cool? Awesome. Okay. So the second step, and I have to go through this fast and furious. The second step, usually I give you a lot more information than just those three, but if you get nothing else, then those three are the key ones, is to connect with quality people. And some other LinkedIn trainers will tell you to connect with everyone and anyone, because they'll say you'll never know where an opportunity is going to come from. I personally disagree with that wholeheartedly. The reason is because we buy from those we know, like, and trust. It's about deepening relationships. It's not about amassing a whole whack of business cards that sit in a drawer. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. So quality people. And we don't exchange business cards without a conversation, quite frankly. When we're face-to-face with other people, hi, how are you? What do you do? Oh, that's really interesting. Tell me a little bit more about that. Well, people aren't doing that on LinkedIn. They're just accepting connection requests without actually deepening relationships. So at the very least, if you are going to accept everyone and anyone into your Rolodex, then simply, try to build a relationship with them. So my opinion is always send a personalized connection request. So anytime that you meet someone, hopefully everybody here today is going to exchange business cards, and I sit down at my desk, I go to each and every profile, I hit the connect button, and then I personalize that connection request with, it was really great meeting you today. I would love, if there's any other sort of connection, I usually try to include that, because the more personal touches, the more people are going to remember us. And it was great meeting you today, and I really look forward to staying connected with you here on LinkedIn. Simple as that, but it's so much better to personalize those connection requests than simply just hitting the connection button and getting a standardized connection request. It keeps you sort of top of mind as that person who actually gives a crap too, right? Okay, so yes.
I just made an account. I've never seen it before, but is this something that you see people that you know and you have to request to get them to come on to yours?
Yes. Yes. So you would make the connection request by hitting the connect button, and then you simply add where you know them from, and then personalize that little connection request.
Oh.
You have to really do it from your desktop in order for that to work properly. I can show you once we're finished doing this. I'll show you how to do it from your device, because there is a way to personalize it, but it's a little bit. I gotta tell you how to get the back door, basically. Now the other area, so there's different ways to make new connections. One is to reach out yourself with that personalized connection request, make it nice and personalized. Number two is to ask for an introduction. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to turn cold calls into warm introductions using LinkedIn, which is where the power of having those quality connections really comes in handy. The other area is request. So when you get an inbound request from a stranger, which we've all had, you can either ignore it if you don't think that it's going to be a strategic connection for you. If it's somebody that's completely outside your wheelhouse and you're like, what do you want from me? I don't really care. You can just ignore it. Number two is you can actually reply to them without accepting the connection request. Again, it's not very intuitive in the LinkedIn infrastructure. I can show you how to do that. And you simply reply and say, can you refresh my memory as to how we know each other? Thanks for the connection request. Can you refresh my memory as to how we know each other? Which is a very polite way of saying, like, what do you want from me, right? And then the third one could be simply just replying to that person and saying, I don't think we've met before, but I'd really love to get together with you for a cup of coffee, or can I schedule a 5-minute phone call with you and get to know your business better? I've only done that twice, but they've been with very high-level decision-making business people where I've actually scheduled a meeting as a result of the connection request. One actually turned into an amazing connection. I thought I was going to get 5 minutes of her time. I got an hour and a half of this award-winning entrepreneur's time in downtown Toronto. She was like, who can I introduce you to? Can I mentor you? It really turned into something, that if I had just simply accepted the connection request, it would have gone nowhere, right? So now I know that I can reach out to her at any given point. Okay, so I've got a screen grab here about how to reply without accepting the connection request. I'll send you this material. I'll make sure that I'll get you the deck.
Just FYI, I just sent you a connection request.
Okay.
Just hit connect.
Yes.
What I should have done is send Leslie an email.
You can click, you go to my profile, you click the connect button from my profile,
Right.
and then it will usually have that personalized area sort of come up. So that's what usually you would do. I'm just going to have to keep moving forward. Usually if I had more time, I'd be able to show you. I get really excited about that part. Yeah. So then the third step is actually, again, it's that conversation piece. It's to make sure that you're conversing and deepening relationships with your existing connections, right? So one of the ways to do that, number one, is to just go and, click like on, if you like someone's certain status update, congratulate them on the new win, things like that. But another way to do that is to write status updates in your LinkedIn profile. So there's an area in your LinkedIn area, like to write a status update. In your status update, I could have written this morning, I'm so excited to be presenting today at Essential Communications. Those kinds of things where, again, I'm showcasing how passionate I am about what I do. It doesn't really sound like bragging, right? Or if I'm attending a certain conference, I'm so excited I'm going to be attending this particular conference. Am I going to see you there? And asking a question to my network, sometimes people pop up and say, oh yeah, I'll see you there. And then it starts the dialogue going, oh, let's try and get a coffee during the break, things like that, where again, I'm just sort of announcing to my network what I'm doing from a professional standpoint. Right? Sometimes they could be articles that you've read. Sometimes they could be a blog post you've just written. Any of those kind of things that are keeping people top of mind. And Joanne was saying, you see my status updates because on LinkedIn I'm constantly giving tips. Like, here's another LinkedIn tip. I may be a little annoying sometimes, but a lot of people come to me offline and they'll say, oh, I really appreciate your updates because they keep me thinking about updating my LinkedIn status. So I'm going to keep doing it because it's getting me business, right? So one of the best times of day to update your status is 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. is one of the best times to update your status. And the reason for that is that's when most people are going to be online. So you want to be there when the eyeballs are there.
Sorry, say that again.
7 a.m. to 9 a.m. when people are either on the train or sitting down to their desk getting ready for the workday. And it's usually Tuesdays to Thursdays. Having said that, I wrote a blog post on a Saturday afternoon. LinkedIn allows you to do blog posts now on LinkedIn. I wrote a Saturday afternoon blog post and I got 13,000 views. So you just never know. So don't necessarily just follow it just because that's the precise time that I'm telling you to do it, but you want to figure out what's best for your audience and things like that too. So, as I continue to plug away here, the 3-step process for converting business on LinkedIn is to search for a dream connection, right? So if there's a dream client you want to work with, a dream company that you want to work with, just any dream connection you want to work with, you're going to search for who they are. Then you're going to see who connects you to that person and see if there's someone in your first degree connection that can introduce you to that second degree connection. And then the third one is either to ask for an introduction from that first degree connection. You're going to ask for an introduction, or you're simply going to go to that person and say, hey, I know that we have so-and-so in common, and this is what I'm interested in connecting with you about. So the more things that you can sort of glean about your dream client that you want to connect with, the more you can go to them and say, I know exactly who you are, I know your problem, the challenges that you're faced with, and hopefully I can help you with that. I'd love to be assistance with helping you with that. So that's sort of how you can turn a cold call into a warm introduction, right? Is if you have a mutual connection. So for me, teaching at the UOIT, I looked through my connections. I found that someone I knew was connected to the dean at the UOIT, and I said, can you hook a girl up? And sure enough, so she introduced me to the dean, and then I started teaching at the UOIT. So simple as that. You just simply ask someone to connect you. This is, again, why for me, quality over quantity. Now, if my friend Sarah didn't know the dean, then she'd say, I can't help you out here. He's just a connection of mine. So that helps, right? So yeah, we're kind of wrapping it up, so which gives me a little bit of time for questions, is image, so your picture, your headline, your summary are the 3 key areas for your setup. Then when connecting with quality people, you kind of want to get to 100% completion with your LinkedIn profile. As I said, you kind of want to keep, you want to kind of get to that level where you feel really comfortable that you've put everything you possibly can. And you don't have to, I mean, I have it as zhuzhed up as I possibly can get it, and LinkedIn's still asking me to put in more things. So don't feel, if you're like, I'm comfortable, it's good, just click that off every time they prompt you in there. But be sure to add skills and get recommendations is another one. So I want to teach you everything there is about LinkedIn, but I'm afraid in 30 minutes I'm not going to be able to do all of it. But get recommended on LinkedIn. One of the tips that I have is, one of the best ways I got recommended by people was to give a recommendation. So anybody that I would stake my professional career on, I would write them a nice recommendation. If they can, more often than not, they give one back, because we want to reciprocate when someone does something nice for us, and LinkedIn asks them politely, do you want to write one back for that person, which is a nice way to get it without actually having to ask for one. The second way of getting a recommendation is simply sending it to them, asking someone, could you recommend me? And I would personally write it for them. I would say, listen, I'd love for you to give me a recommendation. I've written it for you. Please feel free to amend it in the words that make sure that it's your voice. Have any of you written a recommendation? It is a pain in the butt. It takes a while to do, to sit down and think about what you want to say about them. But you're like, I don't know. If you write it for them, they're more likely to do it. And then you get the exact words you want out of it too, right? And then the end is really just to stay top of mind, stay in touch. Again, just wherever you are in your journey for social media is exactly where you're supposed to be. I'm overwhelmed by social media. I do this all day, every day. I've given myself permission that I'm not going to use all the channels. I still have no idea really how to use Snapchat. We're goofing around today a little bit on Periscope because I'm just trying things out. I'm learning how things go. But Rome wasn't built in a day. We're all on this journey together. So wherever you are in your journey, just feel comfortable that you're going to get there. Just be where your target audience is. Don't be on the channels where your target audience is, because you're wasting time. You're spinning your wheels on channels that you're not going to get any results from. So you have to think about your return on investment. Whew. Okay, so here we go. So we got questions and answers.